We're going to take this Tiffany blue dial and put it inside this Oyster Perpetual case and Oyster bracelet. I love this color dial. I know a lot of people do. And Tiffany's just such an iconic brand, and this color is iconic. So you really can't go wrong making a watch with this dial. It's so well known now. These bracelets feel awesome. Solid links, solid end links. Right now we're going to remove the dial feet we don't need. I need this one, and I think I need this little one here, but always double and triple check. We're going to have some Nautilus builds coming. Hank at work wants a Nautilus because I talked him into it because they're so awesome. I'll probably put a little picture in here so you can see the Nautilus. Isn't that beautiful? Blue dial, gray dial, a lot of different ones. Another ones we got coming this week are some homages. One of them is going to be an Aqua Terra dial, so I think that's going to be really popular. It looks amazing, as you can see. I'm getting better sources for my parts and finding like the right manufacturers to purchase from, and it's making a big difference. It seems the manufacturer makes the best dial, doesn't make the best case, and vice versa. So from buying thousands of dollars of parts, I'm starting to learn. Looks like we have a little something on the dial there. Let's try and get that off before we get too crazy. Yeah, look at that. Got lucky. And these matte dials, they are a real pain in the ass to work with, but they look best, I think. I mean, I like the sunburst and metallic dials, but this color, I prefer in a matte finish. I actually have a metallic one, and I can show you the difference. It's a watch that I've used before. Maybe I'll just link a picture, keep things moving here. But the matte looks great. You know what? Is our dial sitting flat? Yeah, we gotta file that away. And then I have some little tiny files. You gotta be super, super careful and trying my best to not hurt the dial while removing these, so that it can sit flat on the movement. Let's clean this up, prepare it for hand application. It's gotta be perfect. There we go. So it's sitting flat now. Double and triple checked. And it's got to, because you only have so much room for the hands, like in this direction. The hands seat down on the pinion, and they have to go into position. They can only push so far on, but they have to go the whole way on to be secure. And they have to go the whole way down so you have room for the next hand. Like after you put the hour hand on the minute hand, the hour hand has to be positioned perfectly. All right, looks like the dial's still safe. Nothing happened to it. That's good. Let's do hands. Before we put the hands on, let's make sure the clock is exactly 12. And how we know is that's when the date function changes. Boom. As it flips over, we know it is 12 o'clock midnight. We can put our hands on and aim them directly at the 12 o'clock hour marker. All right, let's make sure the end of our rod code's clean. It's really not, so I should replace that before we do a new watch. This is the best, like, cool combo I found. I've seen people use these, like a whole chunk of that, and that's how I did it at the beginning of my watch building. But now this works much, much better. It looks better too on camera. And I just have more control of what I'm doing. So I think I like the gray tip for this. And if you get a nice pair of like hand pushers, they're perfectly marked and you know exactly how far to press. Like these ones aren't that great. Different ones. Let's hit it with alcohol while we have it. All right. Yeah, I don't. Sometimes the Q-tips leave like those pieces of them on there. So I straightened that up a little bit, and by turning it, it kind of knocks our time off. So it might switch it, like flip completely 1203, 1204. But I will, instead of removing the hands and trying to get it perfect where it flips at 12, it's so easy to damage hands when you remove them that I found it's better to just have it flip a little bit off of 12 than it is to pull these hands off 2 and 3 times and try and reset them, because that's just, you're going to ruin hands. Ooh, rock a little too sticky, but it's on. Hour hand just clears the hour markers by about 3 millimeters. Like, it's just barely clearing them. So let's test it, make sure it can get the whole around the watch dial without issue. I'm a little worried about that. It makes it though. Oh, I see. As it gets further around, it clears it, but at the 12 and 6 and probably the 9, it's close. Wow. They had that perfectly measured, I guess. Well, let's see when it switches to the next day. We have to go one more round. Almost. That's going to be pretty close. All right, so it's 11:45, 50. Oh, so like 11:51. So a little early, but I can definitely live with that. Let's clean that hand just a little bit, and then we're going to do our second hand. See, I love this about watch building, that I have all these tools. I have everything I need all on like a little table in the corner of my bedroom that already has too much stuff on it. So like all your tools, everything, you get the same feelings of, probably what people do building cars and remodeling stuff. That same satisfaction without spending thousands of dollars on tools and needing a whole workshop to do it. Now she's good. How shaky my hands are is kind of crazy. Yeah, I didn't tap it, but we got it on. I've done it enough times that kind of have my style. All right, it's on there good. Everything's parallel, looking good. Make sure everything clears where it's supposed to. It's such a small space between there. I guess that's cool though. Now this video is going to be a little easier. I don't think I should need that now, because I already had the case and the crown all cut because I made it into a green watch. Now we're just kind of switching the dial. But I mean, that's kind of building a whole watch because you have to redo it all. But you don't have to recut the crown. You don't have to measure all that, and that's such a pain. So this will be a little better without all that. Beautiful though, absolutely beautiful color. Looks awesome. Casio today, baby, God tier. Isn't that beautiful? Can't go wrong with that watch. Now we gotta get our movement out. Or temporary crown stem. You have to start the movement to take the crown stem out, and then there's a little release, and it pops. How you see it, like if I stop the movement, you see, look right there, when I start it up again, it'll pop out, and then we hit that and it'll release. So watch. I press it, you see it pop. Boom. That little thing, that's what we pop out of there. That's what we press to pop this out. Doesn't take much pressure. We're gonna have an hour-long podcast with myself. That's what this feels like. We put that in there. And you kind of press on that little nipple so it slides down under. Just make sure this is all clean under there before we close it up. It looks pretty good though. Quick glance. Wow. Yeah. That looks so good. I can't wait to reveal it. It really looks awesome. What a beautiful color. I get it now. I push it, give it a little spin, make sure it's engaged correctly, and then push it all the way in. All right, O-ring time. Let's do our O-ring. Aye. Make sure it sits down in. I mean, that sits perfect. And the grease kind of makes it a little stickier so it don't move. All right, so our crown's in. Our O-ring is greased. It's in. Just make sure our back is clean. It's hard to see. You gotta check from every angle. I'm just almost certain that once I flip this over and I think it's done, I'll find a smudge on the inner sapphire and have to tear it apart and clean it all again. Wow. That is really awesome. It really is. So it snaps right. Solid end links. All right, let's do our wrist roll. The moment we've all been waiting for. That is absolutely awesome. Beautiful. All right. That is the end of our video. That is the end of our watch build. Have a great Sunday, everybody.